I wish I could tell you I cried in the bathroom. After my dad called me a family expense, I didn't. I sat there, in that chair at the far end of the table, and I let the words burn straight through me like acid. That sting, it clarified everything. I drove home to my modest apartment, the one I own, along with the other 11 units in the building, and I opened the laptop that runs the part of my life no one in my family ever cared to ask about. You want the truth? The struggling photographer persona has always been a smokescreen. The camera is my joy, business is my weapon, my dashboard blinked to life, real estate portfolios, cap tables, silent partner agreements, rolling cash positions, 8 years of obsessively built leverage. And yes, the number at the top was real. 847 million and change. When people ask how a 20-something girl flips her entire family's financial world like a light switch, they don't want the boring answer. They want a scandal. But here's the real scandal. I learned early, I worked quietly, I reinvested ruthlessly, and I hid in plain sight because the people who should have been proud of me preferred an easy story, Mia the dreamer, over the messy truth, Mia the architect. So I made 3 phone calls, my attorney, my CFO, and the operations lead at Meridian, the umbrella that holds the shell companies, the smart contracts, the private credit facilities. The instruction was simple. Withdraw all guarantees tied to the Blackwell family's lifestyle. Leave their own funds untouched. Do not harm, just reveal the truth. And then I waited. Do you know what it feels like to hold your own breath for 3 years? To cover a late payment at midnight so your brother doesn't lose a client? To wire 7 figures to a community foundation so your mom can cut the ribbon in a couture suit? To buy your dad's mortgage note through a subsidiary so the bank can't take the house? And then sit at Thanksgiving while he calls you a failure? You smile, you nod. But a part of you goes dark to survive. Monday morning, 9:47 a.m. The first crack. Mom, Mia, my card is saying canceled. What did you do? 20 minutes later, Brad, all my business accounts are frozen. I'm presenting today. Are you kidding me? 10 minutes after that, Dad, voice shaking in a way I've never heard, something is wrong with the dealership credit lines. And the group chat lit up like a slot machine in meltdown, declined, suspended, unavailable, error. That wasn't destruction, that was subtraction. I removed my scaffolding, and the structure they thought was theirs trembled. Was I cruel? Listen closely. I didn't take $1 that belonged to them. I took back the weight I'd been carrying for them. And yeah, it hurt to hear the panic, because beneath their arrogance is fear, and beneath my calm, there is a girl who used to beg for one honest, "We're proud of you." Here's the hook you came for. When you live your life being called not enough, and you suddenly hold the off switch to everything they worship, status, credit, image, do you press it? Do you show them who you are? Or do you stay small to keep the peace? If this moment hits a nerve, hit like so more people hear it. Drop a comment. Would you flip the switch? Would you have waited longer? And before you judge me, remember the words that started this. This family doesn't fund failures. That's what my father said, out loud, on a holiday, with a smirk across the table. You can call what I did petty. I call it honest, because the truth revealed sounds like a power cut. Lights out, masks off. Start there, and everything that follows has a chance to be real. If your stomach is tight right now, good. Mine was too. Keep listening, because what happened when I walked back into that house will make you furious, and maybe a little hopeful. Share this with the one person who keeps underestimating you. Let them hear what a switch sounds like when it finally flips. I didn't barge in, I knocked. Mom opened the door with mascara smudged, just enough to make me feel something like guilt. Dad stood behind her, tie loosened, jaw working. Brad paced like a caged animal. "Thank God," Dad said, which would have been funnier if it weren't so desperate. "We're under attack." "Who's attacking you?" I asked, sitting in an armchair I paid for. "A hacker? A competitor? A traitor?" Brad snapped. "Someone with inside access." Here's the line people keep quoting. I held up my phone, turned it so they could read the number, and said very calmly, "Someone like me." Silence. I scrolled to deeds, filings, board minutes, trust documents. Their eyes followed the paper trail they'd never bothered to look for. "This house," I said softly, "is owned by Meridian 11 LLC, which is owned by me. The mortgage was underwater. I acquired the note, restructured the debt, stabilized the asset. You stayed, I paid." Dad swallowed hard. We never..." "You didn't know," I finished for him. "I kept it that way so you wouldn't feel humiliated." "You're welcome." Brad tried to laugh and it cracked in the middle. "You expect us to believe an Instagram hobbyist bought our neighborhood?" "I don't expect you to believe. I expect you to read." I handed him the Westfield development binder. "You brag about the Westfield deal, the one that saved your quarter?" "I own Westfield, the Morrison contract that kept your payroll alive. I'm Morrison's primary investor. Your wins were my safety nets." Mom's voice came out small. "Why would you hide this from us?" "Because you loved the version of me that needed you, and I needed to know if you loved me when I didn't." Dad sat finally, like his knees gave out. "We said ugly things. Let's not sanitize it." He said, "You're an expense." Brad said, "Maybe she can answer phones." Mom said, "Don't make a scene." These are the receipts that hurt more than any bank notice. Words don't freeze for a day. They freeze inside a person for years. And still, I didn't come to punish. I came to clarify. I explained exactly what I'd done. I withdrew guarantees. I paused credit lines I created. I ended donations I'd masked. I left their actual money alone. "No theft," I said, "just gravity." Brad's face flushed the angry red of a man who's never been told no. "So what, we grovel now? Is that what you want, a performance?" "No," I said. "I want alignment. I want the story to match the reality. You lecture me about responsibility while living on money you didn't earn. You call that family? I call it fiction." Dad finally looked me in the eye. Not the way a father looks at a daughter, the way a CEO looks at the person who could close him down. "Why didn't you tell me your business were this extensive?" "Because the last time I tried, you told me to leave the numbers to the men." Watch people's faces when you say that sentence. In the room, Mom flinched. Brad squared his shoulders. Dad shut his eyes like he could erase it. "If that line makes you angry, let it." Comment heard, so the algorithm knows how many of us have swallowed lines like that. Then came the question that cracked something open. Mom whispered, "Are we bad people?" I shook my head. "You're not bad, you're blind. There's a cure for that." This is where the energy shifted. Rage ran out of Gus. Humility edged in. Dad asked, "What do we do?" And there it was, the first honest ask from the man who insists he has every answer. I set my phone down and took a breath. We get honest. We remake the rules. But before we talk numbers, we talk respect. I am not your expense. I'm not your charity case. I'm not your receptionist. I'm your equal. In that moment, I watched a lifetime of hierarchy wobble. It didn't fall. Habits rarely do in a single conversation, but it wobbled it enough to let something new walk in. If you're still with me, hit like so I know the long versions matter. Share this if you've ever had to bring receipts to your own kitchen table. Because the next part, what I offered them, will either make you cheer or scream, maybe both. I stood in the center of the living room, the power spot, the place my dad usually occupies when he's about to lay down the law, and I laid down mine. "You have two options." "Says," I said, two doors, you pick. Door one at the easy illusion. I turn everything back on. Your card's clear. Your credit lines hum. The donations flow. You go back to thinking your hustle carried you while I keep carrying you in secret. We pretend last night never happened. I stay small so you can feel big. You get your image, I get my silence. I let that hang. Because it's tempting, right? We're all trained to keep the peace. Door two, the honest rebuild. We stop posing. I stay public. No more disguises. I invest, but as an equal partner with oversight and accountability. We build businesses that work without smoke and mirrors. You learn for real. Balance sheets, risk, discipline. We put guardrails on spending. We fix the leaks. You treat me like I have a brain. Brad scoffed. "And what, you boss us around?" I smiled. "No, Brad. I mentor. I back what's worthy. I veto what's reckless. You know, like every investor you brag about impressing." Dad rubbed his temples. What would that look like practically? Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Meridian Tower. Bring your books, no spin. I'll show you mine, you show me yours. Here's the hook. I was terrified. Not of the money, of the relationship. Ultimatums can break things beyond repair, but so can pretending, and I am done pretending. If you've ever offered a hard boundary to people you love, drop a comment. Boundary set. Let's see how many of us decided to stop bleeding quietly. Mom reached for my hand. If we choose the second door, will you forgive us? Forgiveness is complicated. It's not a switch. It's a practice. There's nothing to forgive, I said, and I meant it in a specific way because I had allowed the lie to live too. But there's a lot to rebuild. Brad, my always confident, never curious brother, sat down for the first time. Teach me, he said, voice hoarse. Not the shortcuts, the real thing. If you're waiting for a redemption arc, that was the first sentence. If you're waiting to be angry, hold it, because he followed with a line that still stings. I just never thought you had it in you. Pause. Breathe. That's the kind of sentence you don't forget. It explains the hiding. It explains the mask. It explains why women like me learn to smile when we want to scream. If that line hit you, hit share. Let someone else know they're not crazy for hearing it too. Dad cleared his throat. I'm old enough to start over. I just need to know where to step. Step 1, I said, and we separate need from want. Heat stays on. Florists go. Payroll first, prestige last. Step 2, transparency. No secret debts, no side deals. Step 3, respect is not a reward for profit. It's the entry fee. Mom nodded through tears. We can do that. Good, I said, grabbing my coat, because I already turned the heat back up. Your utilities won't get cut. The point isn't to punish, it's to wake up. At the door, Brad called after me. Mia, thank you for saving us, for telling the truth, for giving us a second chance we didn't earn. I turned, don't thank me yet, earn it tomorrow. And that's where I'll leave you for now. Because this story isn't just a clapback fantasy, it's a blueprint. Maybe you don't have a tower with your name on it, yet. Maybe your empire is a savings account and the courage to say no more. That counts. That's how it starts. Like this video if you want more of the playbook. How I flipped my first property, how I structured my credit facilities, how I vet a deal in 15 minutes. Comment the one sentence you wish you'd heard growing up. I'll pin a few. Most of all, remember this. Love without respect feels like charity. Respect without love feels like a transaction. We're aiming for both. 2 doors, 1 future. We picked the hard one. Tomorrow at 9, we find out who we really are. I walked out into the cold night, and for the first time in years, my chest felt light. Not because I won, but because the pretending finally stopped. I turned the heat back on, left the lights paid, and drew a line that didn't bleed me dry. Maybe that's the real pivot, choosing honesty over harmony, even when your voice shakes. Here's what I'm taking with me. Love without respect becomes debt, and respect without honesty becomes performance. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks you control. I didn't cut my family off from life. I cut them off from the illusion that I was less than them. Still, a part of me is scared. Did I go too far? Am I in the wrong? If this were your Thanksgiving, your father saying you're an expense, would you flip the switch or swallow it to keep the peace? Tell me in the comments. Be blunt. I'm listening. If this helped you find your voice, tap like so more people hear it. Share it with the one person who needs permission to stop apologizing. And subscribe if you want the unfiltered playbook. First deal, first boundary, first real win. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., we start again. Eyes open, books open, hearts open.